Hello and welcome back to another Tofu video. Since the last video I have O-ring mounted my Tofu to add some flex and get a better sound. I'm now going to share my experiences with O-ring gasketing my Tofu and some tips for doing it on your own. If you saw my last video on the Tofu, you saw that I used a couple O-rings on both the left and right standoffs to add some extra bounce. It did help, but it had a lot of wobble up and down and was not flexy enough for me. So I finally decided to get a large O-ring from Espresso as I had cheap shipping in Canada and it looked nice. With the O-ring Gasket Mod, you basically wrap an O-ring in between the PCB and plate and remove some of the PCB material so that the standoffs touch the O-ring. This basically gives you a more consistent sound and much more flex than the standard tray mount. If you want to learn more about keyboards, you should consider subscribing and clicking the bell. I've been making lots of videos this summer and many of them might have useful keyboard information that will greatly build your knowledge. I've been trying to build up a small following and I'll greatly appreciate your support. Thanks and back to the video. To install the O-ring, you have to do a lot of kind of sketchy stuff. You have to basically file down parts of the PCB and stabilizers and possibly some of the standoffs of the case. If you mess up and remove too much, you could break your keyboard. But thankfully, none of the places you sand off are too close to important stuff, so you have a good amount of space to make mistakes. To get the O-ring gasket to work, you need to make the left and right holes of the PCB larger so that the standoffs can reach through the PCB to reach the O-ring. For me, I extended the height of the standoffs with these things I got off AliExpress for another keyboard project. I didn't have to take out as much of the PCB and I also did not have to remove the standoffs. I had screw and stabilizers, so I had to remove some of the plastic off the space and backspace stabs for the O-ring to fit. I used a Dremel tool to remove all this stuff, but there are other tools that you can use. If you have a lot of patience, you can use low grit sandpaper or even scissors drill or a knife, though I wouldn't recommend those. The O-ring definitely worked with making it more bouncy and greatly improved its sound. Here's a sound test comparison of the before and after modding with O-ring. In conclusion, I would definitely recommend this mod to anyone with the tray mount board wanting more flex and a better sound. It's pretty cheap and makes a significant difference. But it is a little tricky, so make sure that you have done your research and are aware of the risks. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, or see you in the next video.